Hey, welcome to Real Talk with Mr. Richard, a video podcast sponsored by 360 Dance Festival. All right, welcome listeners. We are so grateful to have Ms. Michele Asaaf with us today. And for those of you that don't know who she is, where have you been and what rock have you been dancing under? Because she has been around teaching everyone for a while and is essentially just a legend. You're just a legend. And when I say your name in settings and dance settings, there's always Michele. I was like, and it's one of those understood feathers in your hat, whether you know it or not. It's always good when someone's impressed versus ooh, like the alternative would be.
Right.
So, welcome, Ms. Michele Asaaf. Let's give us a little bit of backstory and how did Michele become Michele?
I was born.
Oh, well, good. There we go.
Came from my parents. First generation American. My parents were both born in the Middle East, Lebanese, so I'm Lebanese descent. They moved here, and all six of us, six brothers and sisters, were all born here, all a year apart.
Okay.
And I started dancing. I mean, again, Dad was traveling. Mom had to do something with us. So at 3 years old, she sent me to Art Linkletter Tap and Dance in Colorado. So in half an hour, this is what we did. Half an hour, we did ballet, tap, acrobatics, and baton twirl. You figure it out.
Oh, goodness.
Half-hour class. So by the time you change your shoes or twirl your baton, you change. So anyhow, that's where I started. Anyhow, and then I continued to dance with Colorado Ballet School or something when I was a little girl. And then we traveled every 2 years. We were in a different place. No, my dad was not in the military, but with his job. And I just started dancing, mainly ballet, my whole life. At 11, I wanted to quit. The next door neighbor girl took me aside. Her name was also Michelle. And she said, at your age, I wanted to quit. And then I didn't. And she was a dancer still. Maybe she was a teenager by then. I don't even remember. So I didn't quit. And voila. So I continued my whole life. I, did the whole ballet thing, went to university, and then quickly got out of university. I went very young. I was 15. I went to Butler University. Turned 16 the next month. Yes, I did, because I wanted to get out and dance. So, and then, so graduated then from UC Irvine and went into the world. And I started teaching. I was a ballet teacher first. I used to teach at Dupre Dance Academy in the day. Those of you, I don't know if you ever knew Dupre. Or you ever, yeah, Roland Dupre was amazing. It was a great place. I mean, all the people who are at the edge now, Randy and Rick and Carol Connors and Joe Bennett, all those people, we were all over there in the day. Billy Goodson. Okay. It was a great studio. So anyhow, I started teaching ballet there and, obviously started taking jazz there because I was pretty much a Trina at the time. I'd taken a little in college, and then, started doing television work and produced a show called Street Heat here out at the Wilshire Bell Theater in California, and with Rick Atwell, who was one of my jazz mentors at the time. And then it was picked up to do at Studio 54 in New York. So wow. He went first, and 9 months later, I up and went there and never turned back. New York, and most of you know my career there. And so I've been teaching and then started obviously, choreographing and directing and then producing and do whatever I can to help the industry now. So. Well,
I saw during COVID, you did a full class with Hollis. Was it Rachel Hollis? I'm not sure if you were teaching her class or you were taking her class, but you did an entire, like it was on like the speed, it was super speed, and it was on one of the social media settings, and you did the entire class. So
teaching it? Rachel Hollis. What am I?
Was it Rachel Hollis? I may be getting my names mixed up, but you had on white leggings with some kind of print on it, and you did the full stretch, like you did the whole class, like you did.
It was my class that I was teaching, maybe.
Gotcha. Okay.
I also have been taking Chelsea's class, Chelsea Field. You know Chelsea from the day she was in Solid Gold. And one of my best friends ever. She teaches a jazz one at the edge. We're like the best friends in the world. We've always been friends, and we're like sisters. So I, for the heck of it, before it closed out here in California, I would go on Saturday mornings and take the class just for fun. I mean, she has a fabulous warm up. It's jazz one, but it's fun, especially for someone like me to go into. No one knows who I am out in California anyhow, so it's perfect. I actually even sign in with a fake name. I mean, now they know, but I would sign in my sister's name because I didn't want to know. They don't know me anymore because I was gone.
Right.
But I'm just joking. So it might have been her class because sometimes I'll film it on fast and then send it to her so she can just use it for fun. But yeah.
I wanted to bring that up because my compliment was you did everything. Like you did everything for the whole class, and it did not seem like you were that you were modifying anything because it was going super fast. You didn't modify anything. So
well, super fast helps it look like you can't see those few moments when you might fall off balance. You can't tell because it just goes so fast. But no, I don't. I'm now, okay, I'm going to give my age because I could care less. So I'm 60. I'm like old, like really old. Exactly. But so, I mean, not really old, but for a dancer. But I still can do pretty much. I mean, I don't jump the way I jump just because I don't need to,
Right.
But I have, life's good. You got to keep in shape, and the minute this COVID happened, I immediately started teaching online, probably before anyone. I started doing the AI, I teach active isolated flexibility and strength work. We have the DVDs of, and I started teaching all for free, a class, and I had people come from all over the world doing this flexibility class, and they've stuck with me. It's crazy. And even the guy who trained me, Jim Wharton, and then I brought it into the dance studios, but Jim had a massive heart attack last summer. So I decided, people kept saying, can we send you money? Can we send you money? I decided, let's do this as a donation-based class, and whoever wants to I'll send the money to Jim to help him out. But he's been doing the class with us every day. It's shocking because, he still has his speech is kind of slurry. This guy has helped every elite athlete. I mean, he's amazing. And now he's like going through this, right? But literally for him, like he said to me the other day, that it just grounds him knowing that he can go and do the flexibility and have these people from all over the world doing his work, but with him, And I pick on him, like he'll go to lift his arm and he's not straightening it all the way or whatever just because of what he's going through. And I'll pick on him right in front of everyone. Say, Jim. So that's good. So that's been wonderful. And I've been, teaching dance classes and whatever. I mean, I think I know it was another question, but, this COVID thing is crazy and everything, but there's a lot of positive things. I mean, I just immediately went to how can we make this a positive situation? Because otherwise we drown, right?
Right. So. Well, and I think that's innate for dancers. Like you make it work. Like there's the show will go on, and maybe there's five groups of five of you, but the show will go on. It's not going to not happen. And I think that survival instinct has really helped us out during this because we didn't have the luxury of being warned. Like we were just dumped in it all of a sudden, and then you're like, okay, well, you have to make money and you have to teach. Like this is what you do, and you make it work.
Right.
But the comment that I wanted you to add to is how you have adjusted your training for yourself individually as you have progressed through your career. How have you adjusted things to accommodate?
Get some personal stuff here, but I'll tell you anyhow. So I was always very into the body and how to strengthen the body. And obviously I taught the active isolated flexibility and the strength work and did Pilates and did gyro and did everything. Went to the gym 2 and 3 hours every morning before I taught a million classes or whatever I did. I was that girl, crazy kind of, not crazy, but good. So I always knew that beyond dance, you needed other things to keep strong. And so that was never a problem as long as I was doing my life. And then about 15 years ago, I left New York and I went to Colorado in a relationship and was kind of in the wrong place for me. I left my life. I left what I innately knew was important to do. So I'd still go to the guys' gym there or whatever, but I wasn't dancing. I wasn't doing anything. Got totally out of shape. Relationship ends, and then I have some personal health stuff which shocked the hell out of me. And I immediately 2 years ago said, wait a minute, I got to figure out who I am again. So I changed my diet completely. I lost 62 pounds. I'm back to my dancer body that I was before. You guys never stop dancing. That's all I'm going to tell you. Just don't stop for anyone. Just keep dancing. But what I did is I changed everything I put in and on my body. literally. I changed the water I drank. I changed don't use any pesticides, anything. Well, the truth is I had breast cancer, so I don't mind saying that. And I'm completely fine. I think I told you that, right?
Congratulations. Yeah.
But I'm completely fine. It was stage 1. I've shocked all the doctors because they were like, I wouldn't do the drugs they wanted me to take. I said, I'm going to drop my estrogen on my own. How are you going to do it? I said, I'm going to do it with diet next. And they, you can't do it. And I said, yes, I can. Literally drop. They're shocked. They want to actually put up, there's that picture of me jumping. I don't know if you've seen that one picture of me like in a passe saute. And I show it to my surgeon. They want to put it up at St. John's here in California. And I said, the only way you can put it up is if you tell people how I did this. You know, don't just throw the drugs at them and go, this is how you have to do shit. Anyhow, so I realized then, I reminded myself, you have to keep this strong. And same thing with COVID, guys. It's all about your immune system. If you have a strong immune system, if you get this virus or any virus, you will be able to fight it. If you don't, if you're putting things in your body that viruses like to eat, sorry, I'm going on that tangent, but it's important for dancers. If you're putting fast foods and soda and smoking and crap and alcohol, your body cannot fight off things. And that's what I did for 13. I didn't smoke, I never did that or drank, but I wasn't taking care of myself. I was eating cheese and meats and crap and sugar and things that I shouldn't have, you know? So it's what I did in the last couple of years is realize I have to get back in shape. You know, I started walking every day at first when I couldn't do more than that. Then I started doing my yoga every day and then the Pilates and added, you know, and the aerobic work. And I'm like I was when I was 20. I'm literally now dating my physical therapist from when I was 20. And he says, your body looks better now than did at 20. Now that's some personal news too. But you know what I mean? I mean, you know it. You look great. You're here, you know, you're younger than I am, but you look fabulous.
There, it is, you know, not being in the gym, you know, getting, like you were saying, getting back to yourself. I've noticed how much, you know, being physical and dancing serves a purpose. And then that thing that I just do for myself, which is lift weights, not having that thing has made me depend even more on what I actually do, which is teach dance. So I'm looking forward to the gyms opening, but I could not agree with you more that I had this whole COVID thing we've had to realign back where center is and get back to self so that once we get through this, we'll be better. We will actually be better if we take advantage of
those tools. We have to keep those, you know, it's really important. It's been great though, being able to go online and take a class from whoever the heck you want. I mean, like if we haven't taken advantage of that, what are we doing? Right.
Right. Well, and I believe Debbie Allen's class, they had however many million people that were taking her class the first time. And then the second time she did the class. And it is one of these things that we talked about earlier. It's how dance is a little late to the party when it comes to using technology to work for us. Like we have, we've had Zoom, we've had ways of doing this video conferencing and using Skype and things like that. But I don't think that it ever became mainstream because it was always an alternative versus us using it to really grow our reach. Like where you are right now, you could essentially teach anyone that tuned into your class anywhere in the world. And that reach goes way beyond the four walls.
You know, it's interesting because obviously I started Tesoro Production, my video production company, in 2003 with, at the time, the owner of BDC, Allison Elmer. We were partners. And it was instructional dance videos. And I wasn't the first company to do it. Finest had his. I know, I think there was Kathy Rowe. There was a couple others that were around.
Morris.
Yeah.
They
were around. But anyhow, so I started that whole thing and we did extremely well. But, you know, the whole thing was you can't teach people on a DVD. In dance, we like to touch. We like to correct. We like to say, you know, inner thigh forward. And you're not giving those kind of corrections. So that was the big, it's impossible to do. Not impossible. We did great. I mean, the company did great. Now, you know, everybody can steal videos. So it's just another story, you know, with the online access. But they started doing the virtual stuff, the same thing I did, but then they started teaching virtually in the classes, right? Which is what they're kind of doing now. But they also did it where you could put a big TV up, which I had done as well with Tesoro Productions. And you could have a teacher in your room that's not there. So the teacher can still correct you, which is what Zoom is, but they can't touch you. That's the only difference. And honestly, you work differently. You know, I worked with one girl the other day, a very good performer, teacher herself, but she had had some foot surgery. So I was working with her on towel curls and things with her toes. And it was magnifying of being able to see this close to her foot, I could really like see every little muscle and tell her, I mean, you could see a lot. I mean, they're both great. Yeah, I miss hugging people. I miss touching people, but there's a lot of positive of working online, and definitely being able, I sign in every morning and I have people from Argentina and from Belgium and from France and from England and from, all over the world who are jumping on and doing classes. That's fun.
Yeah.
Great.
Well, and that's, I went back and I'm going to put in the description for the podcast. I have the link to your YouTube channel, and on the YouTube channel, you have some clips from the instructional videos. And I'm going to really encourage listeners, take a look at them, because you're getting real technique. And that is the turn video when you guys are doing the back attitude turns. And I was like, I don't know if they rehearsed that long, but they are completely in sync. And you're coaching them through the class. You're giving them pointers. And it's so important for our younger listeners and our younger dancers to see real work versus a trick that they want to try to execute because they think it looks cool. And you have such a nice library of legitimate technique that are executed beautifully by the dancers, like beautifully. And I was like, we don't see this. We don't see this kind of instruction, and we don't see this kind of execution on YouTube and on Vimeo the way that we need to. And
well, again, I've always believed the base of anything is from ballet. If you don't have ballet technique, I don't care how gorgeous you are and how high your leg can go and you look like a contortionist and whatever. Number one, you're not going to have much longevity in your career unless you stabilize those joints, number one, for some of these young kids that live all those tricks. But you also don't have the technique to do any style with any choreographer. I mean, people ask me what I teach. I can teach anything. That's how we were trained. I'm not a contemporary teacher, a jazz teacher, a lyrical teacher. I can do whatever. And I always thought it was crazy when my dance class all of a sudden had to have a title to it. It was Michele Asaaf's dance class. You would go, at the theater dance in the day in the Ed Sullivan building. They didn't call it jazz or, ballet is ballet, but it wasn't, or jazz meant I might do musical theater, I might do contemporary, I might do lyrical, I might do street, I might do, now it's like everything is, but anyhow, I don't know how I got to that, but,
those categories, I think that the categories they serve multiple purposes, but the takeaway from your videos in particular are a group of dancers being seen execute the skills correctly. And what we see more of right now on YouTube is a soloist that can do it, or a person. And I'm encouraging everyone to take a look at your videos, because you have groups of people that are working in unison, and anyone that works with dancers know that cleaning those turns is the hardest part of any part of the choreography if you're going to put them in, which is why we have a generation of teacher dancers, choreographers that just they steer clear of it because they don't know how to break it down to clean it. They really legitimately.
It's all technique. It's all the strength in your feet and the strength in your knees and the strength in your hips and the strength in your back and the strength in your arms. It's all technique. So it's not, you can't clean it if they don't have the plie relevé to support it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you can try to clean it, but you have to train. That's what I'm saying. You have to train outside of dance. You have to do that kind of strength work and flexibility work
Okay, so so you touched on the instructional videos, and I really wanted to get into the Broadway for Kids that you brought up. Repeat the title for me one more time.
Broadway Teaches Kids, and it's a performing arts virtual arts camp. For this summer. So basically, what happened? My brother is in the investment world, and he has a dear friend who lives in New York who has an 8-year-old daughter who's also in the investment world, and she has some friends who are like Vasti. Vasti?
I don't know.
Vasti. Anyhow, a lot of friends from New York that are in the arts, and Broadway's not gone, but closed right now. And so they're all out of work, and kids camps are closed right now. So the kids have nowhere to go. So he's talking with Jeff and saying, gosh, maybe we should do some virtual camp. And Jeff says, well, you should talk to Michele, because that's kind of what I do. So she called me and she asked me, told me her idea, if we could hire Broadway performers and or movie, film performers, whatever it was, in singing, acting, dancing, to give them a job, some income during this crazy time, and also a camp for kids, where they would never get the chance in a million years to learn from these teachers all in one place. And, keep those parents that are at home having to work at home now with, not having to babysit, but we would take care of the kids while they're. So anyhow, so I said, sure, I'll build it. I said, I personally, I have a huge list for World Dance Movement, my other company, but they're more dancers. They're not little kids. This is 5 to 12-year-olds. So I said, do you know the moms? So anyhow, we started 2 months ago. I built this whole thing. I built the website. I built the reg form. I hired all the teachers, and we have amazing, we have Luis Salgado. We have Jeremy Duvall. There's some people, Desi Oakley. These are all Phineas Newborn, Rick Negron, who's doing The King in Hamilton right now, Anne Brum. Just fabulous performers. We have a tap teacher from Twins Tap in Argentina that's teaching. I have a guy who's in Paris is teaching theater thing. And it's 5 classes a day, this camp, 45 minutes each for these kids. They can do just the morning, because I don't think a 5-year-old can do 5 classes. At least I wouldn't have been able. Probably would have.
You may have.
I probably would have. But in the morning and night, and they have acting and singing and dancing, and they have and someone's calling right now who probably wants to discuss it, but they're going to have to leave a message. And so we'll see what happens. Registrations are coming in, and it's going to be on Zoom. And we're doing, fun things Marvelous Monday and Wacky Wednesday and Freaky Friday. And we're having them dress, we're going to try to entertain and yet teach them, something in the arts. Tyler Peck's doing it with us.
Oh, nice.
He's going to read her new book to them one day and do a Q&A as well. Katerina the Ballerina, her book she did, Katerina Ballerina. So it's going to be fun. And what's amazing is they're so good, these guys. I did a test class the other day where people could come in for free. So I had 6 of them teach on it. And I was just I wanted to take the class. I was literally standing up doing the vocal exercises. I was some of the parents are can't we do this for parents? And we're hey, we can put you guys on Zoom. You can create anything. If you get me 20 parents, we will pull it together for you. And these teachers will teach. So, and then 35% of the money that's left over, after we pay everyone, we'll go to probably the actors funds, because we want to also help outside of as a charity. So that's what I've been working on like a crazy person.
Listeners, you can find out more about the great things that Michele is doing at BroadwayTeachesKids.com. Until next week, I am Mr. Richard, and this podcast is brought to you by 360 Dance Festival.